All right, so let's start that again. Well, first of all, my name is Kira Love. I missed that part. And I'm an ex-MasterChef contestant, but really what I am is a passionate home cook, a passionate family cook. I love nourishing my family with healthy food that helps them really shine in their best potential. I think when we are healthy as a foundation, that's when our brain works, our bodies work. That's when we get to really live with energy and inspiration. I believe it is such a crucial foundation that we, in today's society, we are really lacking in terms of our focus that really should be placed there. And so not only am I passionate about that, but I grew up in a family where we really celebrated and came together around food. So food is really the center point of all of my happy memories as a child. And so it became really natural for me to want to create that same experience for my own children. And so eating around the dinner table, coming together, having fun with food, celebrating with food is a really important part of our family culture. And I think when you look at cultures around the world, those who have the tightest communities in terms of their families, which we're really moving away from in the Western culture, which is, just there's so much shame. Like, it's such a shame that that's occurring because, family is so important. And the cultures that bring family together around food, they seem to have the strongest cultures within their families. So that is my mission, is to bring whole families back to the dinner table, turning off the TV, putting the telephone, the iPhones away, and actually connecting. And not only is it more joyful, it's also connected to children having higher IQs and more positive outcomes in life and in mindset. So it's got so many important factors to it. So the food that I love to prepare and I love to share is food that is really simple and easy to prepare. As much as I love cooking and I love bringing the family together, I don't enjoy cleaning and I don't enjoy a lot of fuss, a lot of steps. I always laugh, like, I love eating lasagna, but I never make it because there's like too many pans, too many steps, it takes too long. I love eating that kind of food, but that's not the kind of food I create. Kind of food I create is like the less pans and dishes possible, the better, but the more flavor, the more colors, right? The more colors we eat, the more joy we experience in ourselves, which translates to the energy we experience in life. So my food typically tends to be really colorful, really quick and easy to prepare, and it allows for the unique tastes of each family member, because I hate fighting around the dinner table. I definitely have strong boundaries around children having to eat at least 3 different vegetables, but I provide a variety and I usually let them choose. And what I find is they start eating more when they're given kind of those boundaries, but they're also given that freedom to choose. That's the sweet spot with getting your children inspired to eating more veggies. So this is really fun. I think family food is fun where you get to kind of all serve and eat and enjoy and, pick. Like, I love share food. And this recipe lends itself to that. It's something that you can definitely serve up to the kids on a plate, but it's also something that you can create a celebration feast around and having friends over. And that's another thing, is I hate being stuck in the kitchen when entertaining. And so again, I like to create things that are really quick and easy so that I can be a part of the fun. Now, this recipe is so versatile, as with most of my recipes. If you don't eat prawns, fish is perfect. Chicken, we actually do the most because all of our kids love chicken. They love the KFC chicken recipe or the Mexican chicken recipe for this. I've even sourced some amazing organic, gluten-free, made stuff that I have in the freezer. Here's a funny story, actually. So I have been so resistant to the air fryer craze, and not because I don't it's not because I have an issue on it or I look down on it. It's that I enjoy cooking. I love using I love fire and actually cooking more than I love electric appliances. And then our oven and our stovetop, when we moved in, wasn't working for a long period of time. And my partner that I moved in with, he has an air fryer. Oh my God, I'm a convert. The air fryer is amazing. It might be our next cookbook. Let me know in the chat. if you think this is a great idea. Anyway, they're amazing. And it just, again, this recipe lends itself to that. Some air fryer chicken, KFC chicken, whatever, made in 15 minutes, quickly throw some things together. The family is happy. Now, I do this so many different ways, but I've chosen a recipe that is going to inspire you to potentially try completely new flavor combinations that you've never tried before. And this is my joy, is helping you to expand your mind when it comes to food and your taste buds. I think we can train ourselves to like new things, and life is exciting with variety. I encourage you to get some variety into your diet and your mindset. Stop telling yourself that you don't like certain things. So like, you know, with so much passion, like imagine putting that much passion into being curious and being excited to try new things and lending that kind of energy into your children. That's what grows children who have like a really complex, amazing palate. So we're doing prawn, but you could use any protein with this. If you're vegetarian, your favorite vegetarian protein lends itself. You literally can do anything. We're going to do a pineapple salsa because, again, this is, our kids all love pineapple. My partner loves this salsa. Sometimes I'll do a tomato salsa, but I just wanted you to try something new that maybe you haven't tried before. You could use mango even, capsicum, like literally whatever you have can go into this. Now, the sauce that we're going to do is our Chipotle Salsa. So this is something that I made pre-MasterChef and actually won a challenge on doing a sort of a take on this. My traditional salsa, you've got to bake the tomatoes and the capsicums, and it takes a lot of time to prepare. It's worth it. It's incredible. But midweek, I just want to quickly whip something up. And this is so fast. And it's probably like 80%, maybe 90% as good as the real deal one that I make. So if you like quick food, then this is the thing for you. Now, hopefully you were able to source the Chipotle peppers. If you weren't able to get this, there is the jarred one, which if you need a visual, I'll find it for you because I have that one too. In Woolworths, they have the jarred sauce, which is a great replacement if you couldn't find this. But if you can find this, all like really good delis stock it. I just stock up on it, the little tins. And what I don't use, I chuck in the freezer. Okay. All right. So we're going to start with our salsa today. This is a really great recipe to get kids helping. I always get the kids to toast the wraps. You could use lettuce wraps, by the way. And yeah, I always get them helping chopping up. So we're going to start with our salsa. Let me just get a little bowl here. Now, what I also made, which I wanted, and I made it because I wanted to tell you about it. My other favorite thing to make for tacos that the family are obsessed with is just frozen corn. And I pan fry it with some butter, or you could use olive oil, some smoked paprika. So we get that smoky flavor in. So we have all those different notes of flavor, and salt. So it's sweet, smoky, salty, and buttery, right? So I always make this as well. So I recommend that you do that. I've got some black beans because my daughter loves them. Okay, so you just rinse them off from the can. I've got dairy-free sour cream. If I'm entertaining, then do the real deal. But midweek, I try and choose healthier options. And then I've got baby spinach because that was quick and easy, right? We're all about fuss-free, quick. You could do, obviously, red cabbage, finely shaved, looks really pretty. You could grate up some carrot, whatever your family loves. That's already good to go. So if I hadn't have done this corn in the paprika, so this is nice and warm, then I would have done the pineapple that way. I would have pan fried it in some smoky paprika to bring that smokiness into the salsa. But because I've got this, I'm going to keep mine raw. So it's just that burst of freshness instead, like part of the salad. So you can go either way. So remember, you get to play with this. That's what I love about food, is you get to be creative. You get to do this however you like. Now, if you guys have questions, pop them in the chat and I will do my best to follow along and see if there's any questions. Now, you could add some, if you love jalapenos, you could add the pickled jalapenos into this salsa as well to bring that kick, but also kind of that pickled flavor, which lends itself so well to cooked food. I love adding pickles to anything that's cooked, and obviously the relevant kind of pickles, with this, jalapenos work well. The pickled onions that we use in other dishes in JBT also go delicious in tacos, like amazing. If you keep those pickled shallots in your fridge, definitely add them onto your board. The other thing while I'm chopping this up, and you guys can follow along with me, that I wanted to tell you about, you can use fresh pineapple, by the way. I just used tinned today, which obviously fresh is best, but again, it's all about what do you have on hand. Now, one thing that I'm not a huge fan of is wraps. And I know that's really inconvenient because wraps are so convenient. It is so hard to find wraps that have less chemicals than actual food ingredients. Like, turn over your wraps packet and don't feel bad about it. Like, don't worry. Like, my kids love the normal Mexican wraps, and we definitely have them on the weekend, you know, from time to time. But when I can, I try and source products that are only made with actual food, right? And wraps is one of those things that it's almost impossible to find. So I love to have the 100% corn tortillas because literally they're maize flour, which is corn and water. This is the brand that I have today. These usually you can get them in delis. Now, Coles were selling the 100% corn ones. I've done a live in the group on it before. I haven't been able to find them the last month or so. So whether they're out of stock or they're challenged getting it because of the floods, I'm not sure. But an alternative, if you're really strict on preservatives and additives, is lettuce leaves or cabbage leaves you could use. Now, that's a little bit of killjoy compared to the real deal, let's be honest. But, you know, like for some people, their highest value is health. I used to be a lot stricter with that. Whereas now, you know, if 80% is kind of, you know, healthy and fresh, then I'm okay with that 20%, especially if it means that my kids are more likely to eat more veggies as a consequence. Sometimes that little bit of adjustment and sacrifice has that payoff in the long run. So the other thing which is optional in this is a tiny bit of red onion. Now, completely optional. If my kids were here, if my kids were eating this salsa today, they are here. I'm only going to put a tiny bit in, but probably I would leave this out for them. But if I was doing like an adults party, definitely putting in a little bit will just boost the flavor, but you want it to be super, super fine. And again, you could pickle this, which would make it more palatable as well. Now, I've just realized, in order to show you the ultimate cheats version, I'm not even going to make guacamole. I'm just going to add diced, what do you call it? Avocado. I'm going to add diced avocado to the actual salsa. So let me change this over because I'm going to run out of room. So we've got really finely diced pineapple, a little bit of red onion. We're going to do a tiny bit of red chili for color, but you could do the jalapenos, or if you're doing this for kids, then completely leave it out. Now, to get rid of the heat, you just remove those seeds, and then we finally dice it up. Remember, we eat with our eyes, so it is nice to get as many colors onto the plate as possible, a rainbow. And this is another great way to get kids eating more veggies, is talk to them about the rainbow. Get them excited about eating as many different colors as possible each day. Can they eat the rainbow? Make it a challenge. Kids will do anything if it's fun, but you have to speak to them in their language. There's no point in saying you need to eat your spinach because it's healthy. They don't give a crap yet what healthy means. With their kids, they feel healthy and vital, right? They're like in the prime of their life. There's no pain for them generally when it comes to health. So that's not their language. Their language is, you know, if they're a boy, maybe their favorite superhero is really strong with big muscles. Maybe princesses is their thing, and they want to have long hair like Rapunzel. Like, you have to find their, like, the thing that speaks to their heart, right? That makes them feel inspired. So, you know, why do they want to eat the rainbow? How does it benefit them in terms of their values as a child? How can we get on their level with that conversation? So we're going to add a little bit of coriander. Now, if you don't like coriander, you could use parsley. I know some people have a food aversion. Interesting point. It's a DNA thing. If coriander tastes like salt to you, apparently, don't quote me on this, apparently your DNA is less evolved. I read a thing. Now, this is not confirmed, but that's what I read on Facebook. It's true if it's on Facebook, right? Okay, so now we're going to add some diced avocado. Again, a lot of, 2 of our kids are obsessed with guacamole. So if they were here today, I've only got my 2 here today, then I would actually go to the effort of mashing this up. But this is all about making something on a Monday night when you've been working all day and you want the kids to be happy and hubby to be happy and you want to be nourished. This is the line of least resistance. Of course, my internet shut down and I don't know where that cut out. So if you guys can let me know in the chat in case I've missed something. Let me just switch this up. All right, you guys still with me? I'm just going to wait for something to come up in the chat so that I know we are definitely good. So just to recap in case we shut down, I've added my diced avocado in here instead of mashing it into guacamole just to make it easy, breezy, quick, but you can definitely make your guacamole. We've got our chopped red onion. We've got our red chili. We were talking about cutting the avocado. Okay, perfect. Now, the other thing I did is I dressed it with some fresh lime juice. Okay, and so that's made it really yummy and juicy and fresh. When you cook food, when you eat cooked food, it always adds some kind of freshness. You'll notice that theme a lot in my cooking as if I'm doing something that's cooked, especially if it's stewed for a long time. Obviously this is a lot lighter, but there'll always be some burst of freshness to bring it alive again. Okay, so that's what this salsa is. All right, I can see it saying that I'm frozen again. Let me know if I come back. All good. We are recording, so we'll be able to post this. All right, let me just clean this plate off. Let me know in the chat when I'm coming up okay again. Not frozen for you. Okay, perfect. All right, so we've got our salsa. We're nearly done, guys. This is how quick and easy this is. We're going to make our sauce now, our Chipotle sauce. So we've got our red capsicums, which I didn't think to open. All right, there's a tip for opening jars with your, I've got my little girl muscles. Bang it upside down on the table. Apparently it releases the air that helps you open it, something like that. I don't know. Actually, I know what you guys might have missed when I froze is I was talking about coriander. I put some chopped fresh coriander in here. You can leave that out or you could do parsley if you like. If you don't like coriander, if it tastes like soap to you, then definitely change it up. Apparently, I read on Facebook, but apparently if you don't like coriander, it's actually a DNA difference. So it's not a food aversion that you can help. But I did read, and this is unconfirmed, so don't quote me on it if it's on Facebook, is it true? But I didn't remember reading it, something about DNA being less evolved, which I thought was hilarious because I like to tease all my friends with that because, of course, I like coriander. But maybe it was the other way around. Maybe I'm less evolved. So I'm going to put I put 3 roasted red capsicums because they're smaller. Now, this is another recipe that you just throw it all together, okay? So don't worry about it being perfectly measured. This is about following your taste and your intuition, becoming an intuitive cook. If you don't like heat too much, then just put 1 chipotle pepper in. And I love putting the juice in because it's all smoky and delicious. If you love heat, definitely go for 2. Like if you are obsessed with heat, put 2 in. If you've got the sauce, the jarred sauce from Woolworths, then put a couple of heat tablespoons and you can taste it and adjust as you go. So when we think about sauce, what are the components of a salsa or a sauce? There's sweet and there's sour, okay? There's generally sweet and sour. So we're gonna add some maple syrup. Obviously the roasted red capsicums are sweet as well. Put about a tablespoon in to begin with. We're definitely gonna add a really generous amount of salt to balance out the sweet and sour, okay? And then we're going to do some red wine or sherry vinegar. If you've got apple cider vinegar at home, use that. The only vinegar I probably wouldn't use is white vinegar, like plain, like the like, trying to think what the word is. No, you know what I mean, like just a flat white one. Apparently it's made, I don't know, I think something's coming to my head that it's made with some kind of petrol type ingredient. That's why I avoid it, I think. But it also lacks the depth in flavor. All right, let's see if I can open this. So this is the tart, right, bit that we're gonna add that makes it taste like that salsa-y, saucy flavor. A lot of sauces have some kind of vinegar component in it, okay? So all we wanna do is balance the sweet. I'm using maple syrup. You could use honey, right? You could use sugar if that's what you have, coconut sugar, whatever you have. You're balancing these flavors with the salt. So I'm just going to blend this up now. So I'm going to be off screen. So if you're doing this along with me, let's blend together so that we're all making noise together. I will be back in a moment. Sauce is done. I'm just going to taste it and see if I need to balance it out better, but I've done this so many times now. That is perfect. Oh my gosh, it's so good. The only thing I'll warn you about the Chipotle salsa, it's so yummy and so addictive that you eat so much of it that you get headaches. And I'm not sure whether it's the heat or the smokiness. Oh, it's so heavenly. And this can live in the freezer. So whatever you don't eat, and especially if you make the real deal one and you spend all that time baking everything and making the real sauce, you definitely want to freeze it in jars so that you've got it on hand when you make this recipe. And then that makes it even quicker and easier to prepare. Once you've done this once or twice, this recipe, honestly, you will have it on the table in 15 minutes. Okay, so now all we need to do literally is toast our wraps and cook off our prawns. I just realized what I forgot to put in that salsa was a garlic clove. Apologies for that, still tastes amazing. You can chuck some garlic in, you can even chuck some lime juice in. Okay, this is what I do in the kitchen. I'm like, oh, here's some lime, I'll put that in, and here's some garlic. Or if I don't have garlic, I don't put it in. Okay, so the prawns, let's talk about that. I usually just kind of I've got a really good spice drawer, and I would put some smoky paprika, some cumin, some salt, maybe some coriander. Like you do you with this. Sometimes what I'll have on hand is like an authentic kind of Mexican spice mix. Any of them will do, okay? Any Mexican flavor is fine. You can even just grill it naturally or just with some fresh herbs, some coriander and garlic, right? Some fresh coriander and garlic and some olive oil would be beautiful with this as well. I have this beautiful organic spice mix that's really authentic. It's got all the smoky chipotles and paprikas and different peppers all ground down. So if you really want to take it to the next level, you could find something like that. So I'm going to add that. So whatever spice mix you've decided to go with, just add some onto whatever protein you're using. And rather than adding oil to the pan, I always like adding it to the protein because I find that it gets too hot in the pan. It starts burning before you add your protein. Which is not good for the body. Whereas when you add it this way, you get that little bit of non-stick that you need, but it doesn't burn in the pan. Oh, it smells so good. I love smoky flavors. All right, let's just make this fancy. I've got some coriander here, so I'm just going to chop some of that up. It wasn't the plan, but let's use what we have. So it will make it extra pretty. You could even chop up the red onion and make more of like a fajita mix, and you could even add capsicum and pan fry that. So that if you wanted to make the prawns go further, because they're obviously an expensive ingredient, then, you know, pack it out with sliced red onion and, you know, 3 different colored capsicums all sliced up and pan fry it, right? That'd make it go further. I have to tell you a story. So I've moved out to this beautiful space out in Telai, right? It's like, it's heavenly. It's like you're in the middle of nowhere, but everyone lives on acreage. And I thought it was going to be really peaceful. But as you can hear, probably, there's always a ride-on mower or some kind of like machinery going, like always disturbing my peace. Okay. So we're going to heat our fry pan to medium heat. Here's a question that I get asked often. What kind of fry pans do I use? I use either my Le Creuset, I'm not sure how you say it, which is ceramic cookware, or ceramic non-stick cookware. Okay, so it's non-toxic. So this is a really beautiful pan. It's ceramic non-stick. These prawns aren't going to stick to it. I'm going to stick it on heat now and warm it up. You want a really steady, heated, medium heat for these prawns. We don't want them to stew, but we don't want them to burn, right? So you make sure it's really nice and warm so it sizzles when you put these in. As I said, you could bake your chicken or your fish, or you can pan fry it, whatever works for you, air fryer. These prawns could even go in the air fryer if you wanted to. Let me find my spoon. All right, let me have a look. Whilst I'm waiting for that to heat up, I'm going to close my windows so we can't hear that noise. Just broke my nail closing that, so you have to excuse me now that you can see that. But I shouldn't complain. It's actually our landlord is doing the gardens for us. I just noticed. Grateful for the noise. Okay, what else? I've spoken about the wraps. That's our last thing to do. Can you give us the real deal recipe? I'd love to make it. Yes, I actually believe it's in the family recipe book. I will check that and I will get back to you, but I'm pretty sure that it is in one of the guides. I make this sauce so often. Oh, I love hearing that. Is the spice more? Let me see that. I can't see that question. It's the spice more than the heat. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let me know if you guys have questions. Hopefully you're following on okay. Now, whilst you're cooking the prawns, what you could have going, and this is where kids come in handy, is your wraps, toasting your wraps. They always taste better toasted. So I'm going to put on a second pan and I'm going to get those going as well. Oh, I cannot believe I just broke a nail. First world problems, right? Now, the other thing about these is you can freeze them too. So again, these ones are a really large packet. I don't think we'll get through those, but I'll freeze whatever the leftovers are. As with this, I'm going to freeze this leftovers just in a little Ziploc bag, and they break up easy so that you can take out what you need. Oh, this looks so pretty. Is it the sauce from the falafel recipe? No. I will go hunting for it, and maybe I didn't put it in the new guides. If not, I will find it and I will post it because it is well worth making. It is so incredible. Now that I've managed to convince my partner to do spice, he's come a long way since he's met me, I can start making that sauce again. I was so disappointed that he didn't like spice because I thought, oh, so much of my cooking, I'm going to have to adjust. And so many of the recipes that I'm so well known for and loved for, I'm not going to be able to make, but he's almost there. So I will definitely have to pull that recipe out and make it from scratch. But he really enjoys this cheats version, although he wasn't impressed when he found out it was made from capsicum, but he's already said he loves it. Actually, if you guys saw, just while this is heating up, a recipe I made on the weekend was these cheesy cauliflower waffles. Our 4-year-old could not stop eating them. I'll probably make them 1 or 2 more times and have her eat them before I tell her there's cauliflower in them, so that she's like, it's well ingrained in her that she loves these waffles. But that's the trick. Sometimes I'm not a fan of always hiding veggies. I think it's important to ingrain and instill in children a natural love for them. But sometimes you have to get it in their system first and then slowly transition them to realizing, oh, I actually really like this. And we keep having breakthroughs with them where, at first they're so resistant. And it's the way that you bring up the conversation, the choice and freedom you give them, but those firm boundaries, it's finding that balance. And then on the other side, they're like, oh, I actually really like carrot now. Like, we keep having these breakthroughs, which is really good. All right, so I'm going to cook off these prawns now. Make sure you hear that sizzle. And while that's going, I'm going to start toasting these. Let me see if I've missed some questions here. You wanted to do fish instead, what type of fish would you recommend? So if I'm having a dinner party, I have actually done battered and deep fried fish is obviously amazing as a treat. If I'm just doing midweek, you could either grill it with some spices so it's really light, or you could do like a light rice crumb like our nuggets have, or our KFC chicken, our Mexican chicken. You could kind of play with the fish in the same way. Or you could go to a really good fishmonger and get like a really clean version where they've done that for you and stick it in the air fryer. You can really go any way that you want with the fish, like the same way that you could chicken. You could make it pan fried, or you could bake it. You could just cut it up in the same way as the prawns, lightly put some spices on it, in with some olive oil, pan fry it. That will be delicious. It may not be the kids' favorite way to eat it. That's the only thing. They tend to prefer a crumbed fish or a battered fish. Oh, there's definitely some spice on these. Now, what I love about the corn tortillas, the 100% corn ones, you start getting that toasty corn smell, which is that really authentic Mexican smell and flavor. It's really delicious, and they'll start puffing up as well. I have actually made these before myself from scratch, and fun but messy and time consuming. Right, we're nearly there. So what I love about serving it on a board is everything goes on the one place, even these tortillas. I wish you could smell my kitchen, but I'm hoping that your kitchen is smelling the same way. Remember, if you've got questions, just pop them in the chat. Even if you have questions about the program or other recipes, this is a perfect time to ask. All right, this is ready. So I just pile up the protein, whether it's chicken or prawns, whatever we're having. That goes onto the platter as well. Do a couple more of these. Now, I know I've mentioned this on cooking classes before, but citrus is a flavor enhancer. So just like sugar and salt, that's why we often have the sweet, salt, and sour, is it's a flavor enhancer. So whether it's a curry or protein like this, that little squeeze over the end is going to bring out all of the flavors. So I'm going to do that. I forgot to put salt on the prawns, so I'm going to do that now. Always want to season every component of the dish. Okay. And that's our prawn tacos. Now, if this wasn't a cooking class, that literally would have been 15 minutes on the table. I know when you've had some practice with this, you're going to be able to nail it like that as well. But how fun is that? It's colorful. It's got, you know, if I had some red, what do you call it? Cabbage. If I had red cabbage on here, then we'd have pretty much every color of the rainbow, or purple cabbage, sorry. Yeah, so many flavors. This is going to be a party in your mouth, I promise. And the kids will have so much fun with it. And in my experience, men love food like this. Like Mexican is like is up there for most men as well. So hubbies are going to be all over it too. But I hope you've had fun making this, and I really hope that you let me know in the chat, or if you post in the group, your result. One thing that I would say with the prawns as well, really look for quality over quantity always, right? Sometimes we need to kind of dial down how much protein we're eating. And when we start adding some vegetarian days, then we can afford things like really good seafood or organic meats. We've got so many incredible vegetarian recipes in our program that cost around $10 to feed a family. So when we start adding that for good health as well as budget, then we've got more room to work with our budget for some fun nights where you get to have some really fresh, beautiful prawns, or, you know, some really good organic steak, which would also be really good with this. So I want to know your creations. I want to know how your take on this, your creativity, what your family love. Make sure that you share in the weeks to come how you adapt this recipe, because it inspires the rest of us. What kind of prawns did you use? These were actually a noosa that, because I've been in lockdown, I had to use what I could get my hands on. And I had some frozen noosa prawns, which I, you know, just have on hand for like quick curries and things for myself, because I don't eat a lot of meat. But they're like caught fresh, and they're really good quality. I can't remember what type, but just get what you love, I would say. I will circle back into the chat. I'm going to finish up the live now, but if I've missed any questions, I'll come in and answer those. But tag me on Instagram as well. Tag me in the group. I want to see your creations. And let me know if there's something that you would love me to create in the future, or my girls, because I have so much fun doing this and I hope you guys enjoy it too. So have an amazing week. Plan to have a beautiful, fun family experience at the dinner table, and please share your joy with us. Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing day.